Okay, picture this. You've been counting down for months, the day's finally here, you've got your ticket in hand, you're ready to ride everything, and then you see the signs. 6 rides closed, 2 more shut down without warning, and that dream day at the park, it's suddenly looking a little more crowded. Hi park lovers, it's Jessie here from Park Hoppers Down Under, and today we're tackling the #1 complaint on TripAdvisor about Movie World, ride closures. Why they happen so often, and most importantly, how you can avoid having your day ruined by them. Movie World is packed with world-class attractions, from high-speed coasters to family-friendly rides. But the reality is, especially in the off-season, a big chunk of them can be closed at the same time. We're not talking 1 or 2 rides, we mean at least 1/3 of the park's attractions out of action, with no discount on your ticket price to reflect that. And when you're paying full price admission, that can sting. So why does this happen? Why are so many rides closed at the same time, especially when you've just dropped a small fortune on tickets? Well, it all comes down to timing and maintenance. Once the busy school holidays wrap up and the big crowds head home, Movie World enters what's known as maintenance season. This is the window of time when the park takes the opportunity to perform all the critical behind-the-scenes work, from routine safety checks and minor tune-ups to massive multi-million-dollar refurbishments. Now, we're not talking about just giving the rides a fresh coat of paint or polishing the queue rails. This is serious operational work. Think structural upgrades, new ride systems, overhauling special effects, and updating safety protocols to meet current standards. One prime example, the Scooby-Doo Spooky Coaster. It's one of the park's most iconic rides, or at least it was, but it's been closed for over 2.5 years for a major refit. That's not a small job. We're talking about a full-scale refurbishment that goes far beyond cosmetic updates. It's still not open as of today, and for many visitors, it's a sore point. From the park's perspective, the off-season is the best time to do this work. Fewer guests means less impact on the daily experience. In theory, but if you happen to visit during this downtime, it can feel like you've walked into a theme park that's running on half power. And unfortunately, unless you know where to look, there's very little communication around how extensive these closures can be until after you've already paid and entered through the gates. Here's where things really start to go downhill for many visitors, and fast. When several rides are closed, the ones that are still running, they get absolutely slammed. Suddenly, every guest in the park is funneling into a much smaller pool of attractions. That means longer lines, packed queues, and a whole lot more standing around in the sun than you probably bargained for. Now, Movie World already has a bit of a reputation for slow ride loading and long wait times, even on a good day. But in the off-season, when so many rides are out of action, it only takes a couple of extra families in the queue to completely blow out the wait time. And we're not talking a 5 or 10-minute bump, we're talking an extra hour, sometimes more. And it doesn't stop there. Here's a little trick the park quietly uses during quieter periods. They'll reduce the number of ride vehicles running on certain attractions. So instead of running, say, 4 trains on the track, they might only run 2. Why? Well, it cuts down on operational costs, fewer staff needed, less wear and tear, more efficiency for the park. But the problem? That means way fewer people get through the line per hour. And if you're stuck in that line, you'll feel it. Wait times can double, or worse. It's one of those things that makes perfect sense from a business point of view, but for guests, especially those visiting for the first time, it can be incredibly disheartening. You've paid full price for a full day of fun, but instead you're spending half your day in queues for the few rides that are even open. And if you're traveling with young kids or people who struggle with long waits, it's not just frustrating, it can really derail the day. So if you've ever wondered why the park felt way more crowded than you expected, even though it was off-season on the calendar, this is why. And here's the real kicker. You'll still pay full price at the gate, no matter how many rides are closed. That's right, whether every attraction is up and running or half the park is shut down for maintenance. There's no discount, no compensation, and definitely no half-price entry. And before you ask, no, you can't get a refund either. The best you might be offered is a date change, but that's not much help if you're only in town for a few days or juggling a packed holiday schedule. Now for regulars or locals, especially those on annual passes, maybe that's no big deal. You can just come back again another day. But for first-time visitors, families on a tight budget, or couples who've saved up and planned this trip for months, Walking in to discover half the park is out of action, that can be a huge disappointment, especially when the marketing and social media are still showing all the major rides like they're open for business. It's easy to feel misled. Okay, so let's take a look at what recent visitors have been saying, because the reviews here really speak volumes. Just 3 days ago, Terry from England didn't hold back, calling his visit a waste of time and money, saying there were literally 4 rides open plus kids' rides, and that the wait times were horrendous thanks to so many closures. In Brisbane, Susie shared a similar frustration. She visited during off-peak season, expecting lighter crowds, but instead found only 2 of 6 thrill rides open, which for her meant the lines for the few big rides left were still long. And while staff were quick to point out that all the toddler rides were operating, Susie wasn't exactly thrilled, admitting that wasn't her cup of tea. She and her group were through the park in just an hour. Then there's Hilly from Melbourne, who summed up their day with, "Don't bother." They described the park as enormously expensive for what was on offer, with many rides closed or out of order, leading to crazy long queues for the ones that were running, some up to 2.5 hours. Her parting line? "It's a park for toddlers." Now here's where we pause for a reality check. Are these complaints actually fair? Is the outrage from disappointed guests justified? Or are expectations just out of step with reality? Let's break it down. Movie World has 6 major thrill rides, the kind of rides that headline the park in all the advertising. You know the ones. DC Rivals Hypercoaster, Green Lantern Coaster, Superman Escape, The Flash Speed Force, Scooby-Doo Coaster and Batwing Space Shot. Now, on the day we checked, 4 of those rides were closed. That's 2/3 of the thrill lineup completely out of action. Let that sink in. If you're a coaster junkie, an adrenaline chaser, or just someone who came for that high-octane experience, this is a hard pill to swallow. You've paid full admission, planned your day around those rides, and suddenly your main reason for coming isn't even available. Now, to be fair, Movie World isn't just for thrill seekers, it's also a family park. They list 7 rides as family-friendly, including favourites like Roadrunner Roller Coaster, the Kansas Twister, Flight of the Wicked Witch, and Wild West Falls. And on this particular day, only one of those, the Kansas Twister, was closed. So if you're visiting with younger kids, or you're more about shows and meet and greets than roller coasters, you might not feel the impact quite so much. The parades, stunt shows, and character experiences still run. And for many families, those are the real highlights. So here's the truth. If you're a family with young kids, you're probably still going to have a good day. If you're a couple, a group of teens, or anyone coming for the thrill rides, you're going to feel shortchanged, especially if you didn't know about the closures in advance. So are the reviews fair? In many cases, yes. They come from real guests who paid real money and left feeling like they didn't get what was advertised. And when the bulk of the park's biggest rides are down, that's not a small oversight. That's a major problem. But here's the good news. There are ways to work around this. First, check the official ride maintenance schedule before you book. It's on the Movie World website, or you can follow the QR code below. It's updated regularly with planned maintenance schedules released 90 days in advance. That's not to say there won't be additional closures due to unplanned maintenance, but it will give you a fair idea of exactly which rides will be closed during your visit. If you see a lot of big ticket rides down, consider changing your date. Even shifting by a week can make a huge difference. Second, and this one's all about strategy, if you're visiting during the off-season, get there early. Seriously, the earlier the better. The first and last hours of the day are absolute gold when it comes to avoiding crowds. These are your best chances to hit those big ticket rides before the queues get out of control. Midday, that's when the lines balloon, so use that time to catch the shows, explore the shops, or chill out with some street entertainment. But don't just wing it. Make sure you download the Movie World app. It's your secret weapon for tracking current wait times and seeing what's open and what's not. Sometimes a queue will suddenly drop because a ride just reopened or cleared a backlog, and when that happens, it's your signal to move. If you're across the park and see Superman Escape go from a 75-minute wait to 20, yeah, that's your cue to hustle. Timing is everything. A little planning and a lot of flexibility can go a long way in making sure you spend your day riding, not just standing around in queues. Now, third, and yes, this one's definitely a splurge, is the Fast Track Pass. Look, we get it. They're not cheap and they're non-refundable, so you've got to choose wisely. But if you're staring down 60-minute queues for every ride, a Fast Track Pass could be the difference between a frustrating day and an actually fun one. Fast Track lets you skip the main line on selected attractions, giving you way more time to enjoy the park instead of baking in the sun. But here's what you need to know. First, buy online the day before. It's usually cheaper than buying at the gate. We're talking savings of $20 or more per person. Second, check which rides are included. If your must-dos aren't on the list or are closed, it might not be worth it. And third, choose your pass type carefully. There's a single-use option that lets you skip the line once per ride, and there's an unlimited version if you want to go full theme park ninja. Now, just because you have Fast Track doesn't mean zero wait time, but it will cut that line dramatically. It's not instant access, but it's pretty close. Also, if a ride goes down temporarily, you won't get a refund. So treat this like an insurance policy. It's best when the park is packed, the heat is up, and your time is limited. At the end of the day, ride closures are a part of the theme park experience. Whether it's routine maintenance, unexpected breakdowns, or major refurbishments, every park, even the big ones, have off days. And Movie World is no exception. But here's the thing, your day doesn't have to be ruined by closures or long waits. With a little planning and a few smart moves, you can still have an amazing time and dodge a lot of the disappointment that catches others off guard. Start by checking what rides are scheduled to be closed before you book. It's right there on the Movie World website. Make a rough game plan of what you want to ride and in what order. Know when the shows are on. Download the app. And most importantly, set your expectations realistically, especially if you're visiting during the off-season. Theme parks work best when you work with them, not against them. And a few minutes of prep can mean the difference between standing in line for hours. So don't leave your day to chance. Do your homework, plan ahead, and you'll be the one zipping through rides, catching the best show spots, and leaving with a smile, while everyone else is stuck in the world's slowest moving queue. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. As always, this is Jessie for Park Hoppers Down Under. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. We will see you again really soon.